Yep, it's in progress. You got
Okay.
it.
I'm gonna go here. Yeah. Good evening, Sarah. Put the PowerPoint
Evening.
So, so Renee and Sarah Tiffany,
here.
we need to do a roll
Sorry.
call so we can recognize people's attendance.
A roll call to recognize who's attending.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone can hear should be able to speak even if it's called in or either speak through your computer. Either way, you should do a roll call.
Everybody.
Hi, so hello.
Hi.
Please
Hi, this is
Someone has a TV on in the background.
yes, you. So as I sent an email, and
Everyone needs to mute their phone.
well, I don't have any noise in my background.
Neither. Okay, it's done now.
Okay, so I guess we need to write everybody's name down.
I speak to
Do you want
Renee.
to
Okay.
go ahead and do roll
Go
call?
ahead and we're gonna go ahead and get a roll call. On the bottom of the screen. I see it on the bottom of the screen. I see. Why does that keep going? That's the PowerPoint. Where is it?
Okay, is it sharing that screen with everyone?
Can you all see the PowerPoint?
No.
You can't?
No.
So Renee, go to the middle of your screen where it says to share the screen, more options.
I don't. We don't see share the screen.
It's right underneath the record button.
You turned off the video, or you turned on video, or one of them.
At the top, so Renee, it says file, edit, share, view, audio, participant, meeting, help. You see
Okay.
that?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Click on that and hit share my screen. Click.
I see
do a
share.
Right, okay. Do a right click and hit my screen. Once you do a right click, you'll see the option to.
I see my screen.
Yes. Click on that. Oh yeah, there it is. We got it.
Yay!
Yes.
Lord, thank you for your patience.
I'll move it down because you need to be able to see. Okay. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good evening, Sorry. Thank you for all joining our poised and polished Launching New Dimensions of Protocol webinar. This evening we are going to take you through various steps and concentrating a lot on the regional conference coming up. We're going to go over protocol basics. Is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We say Madame, Madam, not Madame. We say Soror, Soror with the S, not Soror with the lowercase s. In the conference that we need to have with us when we go to chapter meetings, to Boule, and to leadership. Our Constitution and manual. Our chapter bylaws and standing rules, the official guide to Alpha Kappa Alpha's protocol. It's the 2017 edition right now, and Robert's Rule of Order, the 11th edition. So really quickly, Soras, we're going to talk about standing for our leadership. When they enter a room and they are being addressed, you want to make sure that you stand for our Supreme Basileus, our former Supreme Basilee, as well as the Regional Director. Also, Soras, remember that you should also stand when the dais is entering the room. The order of rank, our highest ranking officer internationally would be our Supreme Basileus. For regional, would be our Regional Director. And for chapter meetings, it would be our Chapter Basileus. We can also have ranking officers that would be our international officers and our international committee chairs, other regional committee chairs, and our cluster coordinators. We are regional conferences, regional events. The first person to speak should address first to Madam Regional Director, Sir Sharon Brown Harriet, Madam Supreme Basileus, if she is present, members of the Directorate, to our former Supreme Basilee, to our former Regional Directors, and all others who serve Alpha Kappa Alpha. Good morning, sorors. The next person to speak would say to Madam Regional Director and Madam Supreme Basileus, of course, if she's in attendance, good morning, sorors. In an informal setting, you may address Madam Regional Director as Sora Sharon. On an international event, we would greet our presider to Madam Supreme Basileus, Sarah Dorothy Buchanan Wilson, members of the Directorate, to our former Supreme Basilee and all who serve Alpha Kappa Alpha. Good morning, Soros. The next person that comes along would only have to address our Supreme Basileus. And so it would be to Supreme Basileus, good morning, Sarah, singular, because you're just talking to her. In an informal setting, you may address Madam Supreme as Sarah Dorothy. Greetings at our chapter meeting to Madam Basileus, to our former Basilee, and all others who serve Alpha Kappa Alpha. Good morning. Then we would go to just addressing our bachelors. And our bachelors, good morning. In an informal setting, you can address that for Erica. Did I spell it right? Here, there with grace, prayer, and invocation. There are no greetings before we offer these. These guidelines are applicable to plenary sessions, luncheons, and events. Protocol points. Refer to past officers as former. Chapters have chartered members, not founders. The correct name for our international headquarters is corporate office. And the terms are protocol having been established, respectfully submitted, should not be used. They are out of order. First, remember that when you are writing or printing Founders Day, the apostrophe should come after the S, as founders is plural. We should refer to the regional conference as the regional conference, not regionals. The Boulé and Leadership Seminars should be referred to as such, Boulé and Leadership Seminars, not nationals. Use the word chairman or chairman, not chair, chairperson, chairwoman, or chairlady. There is no S at the end of strength when reciting the pledge. Do not print or write down the pledge. Again, there is no S. It's strength, and we should hear the TH at the end. Source, do we have any questions so far? If you have any questions, now's a good time before we move into the crest, shield, and jewelry. Okay, no questions? I think mostly everybody's on mute. Crest, shield, and jewelry. Our official symbols are the official sorority crest, the official badge emblem, Launching New Dimensions of Service logo, and a single strand of pearls. Now, Source, we know that everyone loves to wear their pearls in layers, big, small, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 strands, and that is quite okay. Just remember that our official symbols include a single strand of pearls. The next slide, Source, you will see our unofficial symbols. You may have seen these depending on what state you come from or just other chapters, but none of these are official symbols of Alpha Kappa Alpha, even the one at the bottom right with the crest and the pearls around it. This is our official badge. It is not to be converted to any other type of jewelry, and it cannot be given to just anyone. The badge of an Ivy Beyond the Wall may be interred with the body, buried with the body, retained by the family, or by another Sarah. And if it is retained by the family and they're not sure what to do about it, you can always reach out to our corporate office. Next, source, we will go into titles and pronunciations. So, for non-Greek titles, president, vice president, secretary, corresponding secretary, financial secretary, treasurer, reader or hostess, keeper of the door, Miss, Mrs., or doctor. For president, the Greek term is basileus. For vice president, the Greek term is antibasileus. For secretary, the term is grammatis. For corresponding secretary, the term is epistolus. Financial secretary, pecunius grammatis. For or hostess, hotigus. For keeper of the door, phylacter, and for Miss, Mrs., or doctor, it's sorrel. Continuing, for the plural form of basileus, we use basili. For the chapter greeter is the hotigus. Our sessions at the regional conference are called plenary. And the dais is pronounced dais. Terminology, unacceptable terms, neophyte, burning sands, line sisters, tail, paper, cross, the cave, prophyte, sand, ship, back door, dean of pledges, maid, are all unacceptable terms.
Really?
Now, source, we are aware that these terms are used in a personal manner, depending, of course, on when you may have been made an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman. However, as far as the sorority goes, present day, these terms should not be referred to. So make sure that when you are in a personal setting, watch your surroundings and watch who you're talking to. But when we're in a formal setting, especially moving forward to the regional conference next weekend, just be sure that you are not using these terms in the wrong company. Oh, okay. Also, source, we know that, again, lines and line jackets and line numbers only exist in undergraduate chapters now. So if you are a graduate member or were made in a graduate chapter, be sure that you refrain from wearing your line jacket, things with your line name, your line number, on them at regional conferences, boulets, leadership conferences, and any other official business meetings. The disposal. The following items should be shredded or burned: rituals, paraphernalia, constitution and bylaws, manual of standard procedure, international, regional, and chapter directories. Any publication of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated with private and or confidential information. All of the items listed are to be destroyed. The Ivy Leaf magazine should also be destroyed. Source, we are asking that you please not donate your items, because this is what happens when things are donated. So please make sure that you are disposing of your paraphernalia in an appropriate manner. Our national hymn basics. When we sing the Alpha Kappa Alpha hymn, it is we strive and we do, and it is not we strive as we do. It is we help each other. It is not, it is we will pledge our faith. It is not we'll pledge our faith. It is united, we'll forge a way. It is not we will forge a way. Sorority song, copyrighted version, the name is To Thee Honor, to thy honor. And we need to practice singing our hymn correctly. Singing to the bride. Inactive sorors may participate. We do not have a sweetheart song. No groom or other guests should be in our circle. We should hold hands with our arms down. In other words, do not cross. And we do not sway. The protocol manual is silent to what we should be singing, but most often what we hear is the song 20 Pearls being sung to a new bride. Any questions so far? Any questions? We will address tattoos. Sorors should not get tattoos of the Alpha Kappa Alpha official symbols. Also, we should cover our tattoos at chapter, business, and formal events and all rituals. Event basics. Okay. We always have VSGs or very special guests at our conferences. These may include the Supreme Bachelors, Directorate members, former Supreme Bachelor, the Executive Director, International Committee Chairman, former Directorate and former Executive Directors, International Committee members, other sorors, and guests as designated by the Supreme Bachelors, by the Regional Director, or the Chapter Bachelor. We have special event seating, and we need to honor any seating signs that say reserved. Our former directorate members, former executive directors, diamond and golden sorors, and physically challenged sorors, musicians, and VSGs that are not seated on the dais are usually the ones that sit in the reserved seating. The delegates have a special seating as well at our conferences, and you have to have your badge on with your delegate sign to sit there. Social media. Use discretion in posting to social media. Sorority meetings and business should not be recorded via audio, video, or photos and posted to social media. Be aware that your name, image, or likeness may be used on Alpha Kappa Alpha social media when attending sorority meetings. See the social media policy as an additional resource. Be aware of the dangers in today's society. It lets everyone and anyone know where you are. It is recommended that instead of posting at the moment that you are somewhere, to wait till you return home or till you are no longer at that location to post. Go back to the previous. I was trying to go back to previous because we missed the one where just a moment, sorry. We missed the one where we talk about this. Oh, wow. Addressing the presiding officer. After you have been recognized by the presiding officer at the conference, at the Boule, or at our regional conference, you should speak clearly so that the delegation can hear you. State your name, your chapter, the location of your chapter, and whether or not you are a delegate or non-delegate. For example, you would say, Soror Tiffany Coward Hughes, Psi Theta Omega, Orlando, Florida, voting delegate. Electronic media. We need to refrain from using recording devices, audio devices, or cameras at any conference, plenary session. The only exception to photographs would be our regional awards presented during our plenary session, public meeting, and our luncheons. Also, we should never forward official email messages which contain sorority and chapter business to any other soror who may not be active. Ritual cannot be any photos taken during any of our ceremonies, with the exception of the recognition of golden, diamond, and silver sorors. Attire, basic. Any questions before we go forward? Attire guidelines. Business attire for chapter meetings. Refer to invitations for appropriate attire for formal and social gatherings. Sorors are encouraged to wear pink and green at information sessions or rush. Paraphernalia is appropriate for closed informal events and designated community service activities. Skirts, pantsuits, dresses are appropriate. No hats. Attire at chapter meeting may be designated by the bachelors for certain events or themes. Always be well-groomed. Keep your clothes well-maintained. When in doubt, always err on the side of more conservative and formal. Be conscious of the fitting of your clothing. Avoid gum chewing. If given a name badge, place it on the right side of your body just below the collarbone. First, we would like to talk a little bit about attire and what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. In our next few slides, we will show pictures and give some explanation and hopefully get some feedback from you all regarding what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. Okay. Sorority rituals. Rituals are conducted with dignity and reverence. Rituals are for active sorors with these exceptions: Ivy Beyond the Wall, installation of officers, rededication. Rituals are closed to the public, and rituals should never be printed or posted on a website. White attire for rituals are us wearing conservative, solid, seasonal white dresses or skirt suits with sleeves, without adornment, embellishment, color trim on the edges. Flesh tone or white hose and seasonal white shoes are mandatory for the following: chapter chartering, membership intake process, Ivy Beyond the Wall memorial ceremony, induction of honorary members. Pants, pantsuits, and hats are unacceptable attire for any ritual. Jewelry worn should be conservative. White pearls are recommended. Exceptions: head wraps, seasonal white only, for health or religious reasons, and orthopedic shoes for health reasons, no color restrictions. Pants and pantsuits are not acceptable for rededication. We have pictures of white attire for rituals. It must have sleeves. Must have sleeves. White shoes for rituals. You can have your heel out or your toe out, but not your heel and your toe.
Okay.
Hosiery for rituals, flesh tone or white. Unacceptable attire for rituals: sneakers, flip-flops, mules, sandals, pants, and that hat. And the flying hat there, and the beaded suit. It's white, but it's got all those embellishments on it. Now, any questions? Angela raised her hand.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is Sora Dawn. I do have one question.
Go ahead, Sardon.
Since we were just on attire, and can you talk about proper attire during chapter meetings, and what happens if we're not in proper attire during chapter meetings, and when there's an exception to be out of business attire during chapter meetings, please?
Yes, so our next slide, which we're going to go ahead and go to, addresses business attire. Our meetings we are supposed to be in business attire unless otherwise specified. That's what, for instance, she may have a represent your school day or represent your business attire. The second picture that you see is not considered business attire. However, to make this particular dress business attire, you could simply add a jacket. The third picture is not business attire. And the fourth picture is another example of business attire. Sorry, Tiffany. She's raised her hand. Do you have to click on something, or did she? No? Sorry, Tiffany, we see that you raised your hand.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
You must be on mute. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so you mentioned on picture 2 that all you have to do to make it business is add a jacket, but it doesn't look like she's wearing hosiery. Can we talk about hosiery at chapter meetings?
Sure, and my apologies. I wasn't even looking at something. We know Florida is hot in Florida, and we do not like to wear hosiery. A lot of us may not even own like appropriate business attire does require hosiery. I'm not sure what's under the pants on the first picture, but the one in the red dress added a jacket and put on, they're questionable. I don't know how you would really wear those hosiery unless you wore them. Probably would be slipping and sliding. So yes, absolutely. with business attire, not just at the regional conferences, but also in our meetings, we should be wearing pantyhose. Angel, you also had your hand up. Angel. Sorry, Angel, we don't know if you're on mute. You can go ahead and chime in.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah. Can.
Okay, I think I already saw it clarified because I was reading in the rituals manual about the shoes because it just says seasonal white shoes. It doesn't really specify and spell out specifically that it can be, you know, you can have your toe out or the heel out or not, but not both. So I was just curious, is that did they update in a more recent ritual manual to say that? I know it doesn't specify in the, well, that's the one I have the 2014, so that might be why. But I was just curious to know if that's in the updated rituals manual.
Sorry, Angel, everything was taken out of the 2017 protocol manual. Sorry, Renee and I are planning to attend the regional conference, of course, to get any updated documents because we also have questions regarding the pinky and the skiwi. So we'll get clarification and then we will report back. But what we have on the screen is what we understand to be acceptable and unacceptable.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. So do we have? Okay, I'll try to watch the screen for raising.
Oh, okay. I see it in here in the attire for rituals. It just says seasonal white shoes. So I didn't know if that was a change with the. I know at one time we used to have it that way. You couldn't have both, but I know in the current manual. So that may be a question for clarity because it just says in the manual in the protocol manual on page 10. It just says white seasonal white shoes are mandatory for the following, and it lists, chapter, charter, MIP, out beyond the wall.
Okay, so like I said before, when we go to the regional conference, we will get clarification on
Okay.
What it exactly is based on Okay, so as far as on the next you will also see some white and off-white, seasonal white color. The issue with does anyone see any problems with the first? More adorned than a conservative white suit that we would need for our take or Ivy Beyond the Wall. The second one, she has on pants and she has on sandals. The third one is more of a conservative suit and she has on pantyhose. And the fourth one is adorned and black shoes and she has black striped accents on her dress and sleeves. And that would not be appropriate. Any questions? For our form, the first, second, and third attire is appropriate. The second might be a jacket, and the fourth is not. And do you have any questions?
I have a question. Hello?
Yes.
Yes. So like the picture number 2
We hear
with
you.
the green dress, that is a fashionable trend. Are we saying that's inappropriate for the gala? Because I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that. Like, how are we responding to the fashion trends? And I'm not talking about some of these new prom dresses, but that dress, people, I guess y'all don't went back. Can y'all go back to the slide? I guess I'm curious if there's anybody else on the webinar thinking whether number 2 was not bad. I'm just curious. Hello? Hello?
Hi, it's Sora Jennifer, Sora Tiffany. I agree.
Thank you, Jen. I thought everybody was gone.
I'm still here.
Everybody's still here. I'm just trying to keep myself on mute.
Oh, okay.
Can we before we do close, can we make sure we have a count of all the stars on this webinar, please?
Well, Don, let's make sure Tiffany and Renee did they say they concluded? I couldn't hear them anymore.
I can't hear them either. And let me shoot them a text. Let me see. Maybe they need to call back in. There was one time, there's a couple times when they were in and out. We were losing them.
Oh, okay.
I know I was. I mentioned to
while
them.
we're waiting for our presenters to come back or for us to hear them, because I no longer see them either. Can I recognize some of the names, but if you're called in and your name is not recognized, can you provide us with your name so that we can capture this for point purposes and attendance if you're a call-in user? So let me read off who we have.
Tiffany, I think, okay, you're doing exactly what I was going to suggest. This is Sarah Angela. Maybe because if you can see the names, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's about
9.
10. Is it 9?
Yes, number 5. It says user 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It just says user, so we don't have a name next to them.
Hey, Sarah
So
Tiffany.
let me read who I have. Dawn Curtis, Erica Watson Lee, Tiffany Carr, Renee Tolliver, Angel Ferguson, Mildred Graham, Angela Davis.
I don't even see your name
Oh.
on.
Someone needs to be on mute while Tiffany's going down the list.
That's Sarah Jolene. She's on the phone with the others. If someone could tell her to mute, I don't have her number.
So Jolindy is on here. We see her.
Okay,
No, but
so let me finish. Natasha Bond, Catherine Butler, Cheryl Zachary, Sarah Danielle, Don Adderley, Jennifer White, Jolindy Daniels, Jorlene Ware, Latoya Franklin, Levon Williams, Sarah Sharita, Tia Batty, Beverly Brown, and Ishne Hobbs. If I did not call your name, if you can now tell us that you're on the webinar. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Mm.
Well, we couldn't
So,
hear
Tiffany or Renee, are you guys back?
on saying bad connection. Okay. And Angela?
So, Davi, we see you.
Oh, hello, ladies.
Okay. Tiffany, you had a question?
We were talking about that dress that was with the short but long trail, and we just wanted to kind of see, because that's a new fashion trend, and just talk about why you guys thought that was not appropriate for a gala versus.
It is appropriate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So as it looks like we got a bad connection. Sorry, Don texted and said that we had a bad connection. So we don't really know how much of the end of what you heard. Yes, sorry, Tiffany, but we did say that it was appropriate. So, SARS, were there any other questions or things that you wanted to ask that we may not have heard?
Hi, this is Sarah Angela. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify. So are we saying moving forward that we must wear pantyhose to chapter meeting? That's what I'm just trying to clarify.
So what we're saying is for business attire, which is what is required for our sorority meetings, you should wear pantyhose or hosiery. Appropriate business attire includes.
So, Tiffany and Renee, I just posted a question to you both on your phone. Oh.
For a chapter meeting, if you are late, the fine is $1. For plenary sessions, they do tell us at the regional conference what the late fees are. I do not think it's $1. I think I've had $2 or $3 depending. So that's something to pay attention to closely at the regional conference because.
Sorry, Tiffany, we can barely hear you.
Okay. We're moving closer.
Okay, thanks.
So at our chapter meeting, the late fee is $1. At the regional conferences, they do let us know what the late fee is. I declare $2. So be prepared if you are late for a session to not only have your late fee money, but also know the password to get in. And the password may be Alpha Omega Alpha. Well, that's the last chapter.
So, Renee, it's the password. It's the same password from Boulay. When we go to regional conference, it's the password we were told in 16. It doesn't change till we get to the 18 Boulay.
Okay. It's not because of the new chapters.
They normally will tell us what the password is in the first plenary.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Now, can we have a roll call? Because I see just 3 names, but I see like 15 people on the call.
Oh, it's way more than 50.
Today, when we lost you all, we went ahead and did it, so we captured the role.
Okay. Thank you. Sir, do we have any other questions?
And I would like to rephrase for Angela Davis and any of our new stars in the call, because Tiffany was being nice. But I would say it differently. Protocol calls for us to wear pantyhose at our business functions for AKA. That's our chapter meetings, that's our regional conference, that's our cluster, that's AKA at the Capitol, Founders Day. It is relaxed if the presiding officer tells us otherwise. So, yes, if you're not told not to, then we are supposed to wear pantyhose. But it is obvious when you walk into our chapter meeting that we probably normally don't. And there is no pantyhose police walking around the meeting saying you got to leave. But protocol does call for us to wear pantyhose. That was 5 bastards on the phone.
She is presently quiet.
Yeah, we
Okay, sir. So again, any further questions? Any further questions or comments?
Sarah Levon has a question. Did you see the chat? She asked about. Do you see her question, Sarah, Tiffany and Renee?
Yes, we're looking at them now.
Oh.
Sarah Levon, basically what they're talking about is blatant open tattoos where you can really see them, where there's some people who have multiple tattoos up and down their arms, up and down their legs, that kind of thing. That's what they're talking about, having cover. Rituals. If you have a tattoo on your leg and you have on pantyhose, then you don't see it. Does that make sense to you? Sorry. Let's call Sorry, Erica, we see your comment. You're welcome, Sarah Levon. Sorry, Erica, we see your comment. We're sorry that your audio is not working. Questions that you'd like to pose in the group? Sorry, Latasha Bond. So when we talked about the business attire, there was a young lady who had on simply a red dress and no pantyhose, some strappy shoes. We're simply saying that you can add a jacket, pantyhose, and appropriate shoes to make that particular outfit a more business attire. Instead of just kind of looking like you're going to run out to happy hour or the mall. Again, we're not saying that every store needs to be dressed in a suit for chapter meeting. We're trying to give options to making what you have more business appropriate by adding a jacket, by putting on pantyhose. No, Sarah Levon, we're not saying that business attire requires a jacket. But when you look at that particular picture, she does not look like she is going to a business meeting. We're simply making suggestions on how you can make it business attire. You're welcome, Sarah Natasha. Madam Bacheloress, again, we're waiting to see if you have anything that you would like to add or question via the chat. If not,
Sarah, Tiffany and Sarah Renee, what do you think we should do, or how should we approach? We notice that some stars come to the meeting, they have on stretch pants, so it's obvious it's not even close to business attire. But yet, at the same time, we don't want to deter people from coming to the meeting. How do we balance that?
Sorry, Tiffany. We have a fee for late fee. I don't know how feasible it is to charge for inappropriate dress. We could also ask sorors to donate jackets or drop off a couple of pair of pantyhose or something, so that maybe we can help sorors get into the right attire before entering a meeting. One thing we can do is reach back to the committee to say, how can we assist sorors, or because again, we don't want to deter them or turn them away, but we definitely need to address the issue. And Sarah Levine is typing in that I think it would be good for our member at large to sisterly address the issue, which is another good suggestion. But I do know, like at some very upscale restaurants that require jackets or things of that sort, they have a closet that can be used upon entrance if you're not dressed appropriately. But sorry, Tiffany, we can definitely take it back to our committee. And Sarah Dawn is typing in that in other chapters she's been in, the phylacter approaches the soror and she pays a fine. And sorry, Jennifer, I don't know if everybody can see it. It's Orlando, Florida. It's hot. Pantyhose are uncomfortable, and with the AC not working, we could have issues. Yes, we could possibly have issues, Sergeant, but what we're talking about is what is appropriate, and unfortunately, Alpha Kappa Alpha does not specify in Florida we don't have to wear hose. So we are simply addressing what you're supposed to wear to a business meeting. I would agree with you. It's hot. Erica just typed.
I think a good takeaway for sorry, Jennifer, you are absolutely correct. And our bachelors and I have had this conversation numerous times. I think what the important thing for us to take away is if our bachelor says, "Sorry," because the bachelor can always say, "I will relax protocol and allow SARS not to wear pantyhose." She can have that privilege to do that. I think, though, it's important that we are knowledgeable that when we go to a conference, though, what we should be doing and not come to the conference saying, "I don't wear pantyhose." I think that's the distinguishing factor. So Madam Baptist can say for May meeting, SARS, we're not wearing pantyhose. I'm going to relax that. But we should respect protocol when it tells us when we walk into a regional conference what we're supposed to do. That's all I think Renee and Tiffany are saying. We can agree or disagree, which is why you can always email the protocol. I mean, like in Atlanta, Dorothy relaxed protocol and said we didn't have to wear pantyhose. So the presiding officer can always say, "I'm going to relax protocol." But again, it's also acknowledging that protocol does say we should. And so I just think the key is respecting what the presiding officer has asked us to do. And I think that's the key.
So we have several comments in the box about pantyhose and it being hot. For instance, we are getting ready to go to Fort Lauderdale for our regional conference, and it's going to be hot there, but we are expected in our business meetings to wear our pantyhose. So again, to Sarah Tiffany Moore Russell's point, Sarah Erica could take the privilege of doing it, but of suspending that pantyhose rule. But when we go to a conference, we need to be addressed appropriately. And also, Sarah Erica is saying we have to be careful about approaching people, as most don't wear the pantyhose, and how are we going to approach people about one thing and not the other. So again, I think this is a discussion that we take back to protocol, and we include our bachelors on the conversation. And again, I think we also need to lead as leaders. We need to lead by example. One of the things that we are doing with the hostess committee is asking our hostess to wear pantyhose and be dressed in business attire. So, again, leading by example. So, what we can do is take this back to our protocol committee, ask our bachelors to be a part of the conversation, and we can move forward from that point. Erica Green came like 3 times. Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you guys so much. Is there anything else? We knew that pantyhose thing was going to be an issue, but we definitely will try to address it. And again, we are trying to make SORS aware of what protocol calls for. Also, if you're aware that when we do go down to our regional conference, that if you get to the front, to the door, and the phylacters there at the door stop you because they assume, or they, by their decision, you are not appropriately dressed. Just be aware. That's one of the things we want you just to be aware and know that this, what the protocol is, but just be aware. We're going to see what we can do for you, but just I don't want you to be surprised or caught off guard when you go to the conferences and somebody says you can't come in because you're not appropriately dressed. Okay, thank you all again for joining the call, joining the webinar, and Sarah Renee and I will follow up after we come back. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night.
All right.
Let's give a round of applause to our presenters. Thank you, Sarah Tiffany and Sarah Renee, for conducting our workshop on behalf of the Leadership Committee and continuing to educate our SOROs. So we will get with our Joylene to record this so it can be available for those who couldn't participate. And you all have a great night, and see you up for those who are going to Fort Lauderdale. See you next week.
All right.
Bye, Flor. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah Renee. At this time, yes, Sarah Renee.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and hit stop recording at this time.
I see recording, I see recorder, I see an X.
Okay, at the bottom of your screen, it should say stop recording. If you click on the record button at the bottom.
No, I see recorder and
On
recording. On the bottom left or right, where should it be?
Okay, on my screen, it shows recording. Let's see. So it should show at the bottom right on your screen because it's showing on the bottom left on the participants. If you are the host, it should be on your bottom right.
All we see is recorder.
Yes, it's when you click on right-click on the recorder button. It should be a little arrow or right-click on it, and it should tell you it has a little square where you can hit stop recording.
Nope, I see expand panel, close panel, manage panel by recording. Close the panel. Close it.
Okay, let me switch it back to me.
Hold on.
Let me. I'm gonna switch it back to.
I see recorder in a circle up the top by participants in chat.
Okay, click by participants in chat. Go up there, and then do you see where you can click on the options by the recorder? At the top?
I see, no, I just see.
Okay, that's okay. Let me switch it. Let me switch it back to me.
Okay.
Yes. Let me see.
You got it, Jolene?
Okay, you switched it back to me. It's still showing that you're the host at this time. So we need to change it back to,
How do I change it back to you?
go ahead and let me see. Since you're the host, let me see, can I move this back to you? Okay, here you go. You're here. All right, do you see now I'm passing over privileges? You're now the host. Okay, and you're now yes, do you see your option there? You right click on your little green ball? Do you
By
see
you?
okay, do you
by
see the option that says to change role?
No, where would that be?
If
Right
you
click.
right click on
Okay,
your
change role
yeah, to your because I'm
to host.
yes,
Okay.
to me. Okay, I am not the presenter, but you have to change it to host because I can't stop the recording until
Okay,
you
so
stop
back
it.
to ball. I thought I clicked on host, change role to host. Okay. Do you want to become a presenter?
Okay. Now
Did I-
let's see. Okay, yes.
Okay.
All right,
host.
I see it now. So at this
Okay.
time, Soros, we're going to go ahead and conclude the meeting and stop the recording. Thank you again.
Thank you for your help.
Oh, you're welcome, Soros. You all have a good evening.